Seem to have re-established contact with San Juan in Puerto Rico and the Roberto Clemente Coliseum. Unfortunately, due to our satellite breakup, we seem to have missed the first fight, Jose Ruiz against Juan Carrazo. But to bring us up to date and to let us know what the situation is in San Juan, our commentary team is Bert Blewett and Heinrich Marnitz, and let's see if they can fill us in on the details from San Juan.
The three things unchanged from different sides of the island. And they come at you to kill each other. It feels too good.
Now, Chris, this is your first promotion outside of South Africa, and I guess you're rather delighted with the response we've had here in Puerto Rico?
I'd say the Puerto Ricans have been absolutely tremendous to us. They treated us like royalty, and the island is something for the people back home to come out here and see.
So I guess you're looking forward to coming back on November the 25th.
Well, I just hope my two boys win the fight tonight. Hitz and the fighting next. But Pierre Coetzer coming out against Bobby Hitz. And the first fight right in there. Hope Stefana takes it easy the first round. I believe he's going to go home with a belt.
Thank you very much, Mike Siegel. It's good to see you again, Director. Well, that was Mike Siegel, Eminent Promotions, and he's delighted to be here, and so are we. And we've seen some good boxing so far. We're looking forward to the second world title fight. That's Simon Kasana and Kenny Mitchell. And then, of course, we've got the heavyweight fight, an international fight with Bobby Hitz against Pierre Coetzer, South African champion. And it'll be of interest to South African viewers to know that in Hitz's corner is going to be Pinkland Thomas, a man who fought a draw with Terry Coetzee all back in 1983, I think. Well, 1982, I think it was. 1982.
Ja, dat is een gevecht waar 10 rondes als een regeldoos. En ook wat mij interessant is, in die hoek van Bob Hitz is het dame, zijn bestuurder. En haar naam is Jackie Kellen. Jackie Kellen. Nou, iets baie opvallend hier in Puerto Rico is dat daar dames betrokken is in die bokswereld. Ons het gezien dat daar bestuurders is wat die dames betreft. Hier is ook een bestuurder. Haar naam is Jackie Kellen in die hoek van Bob Hitz. En net ook al gezegd van Yvonne Plas, wat zelf bokscommentaar doen als een dame. Bob Hitz, nou ja, hij heeft gezegd dat hij tegen de plooi zou vervechten in één stadion. Ons gaan kijken of we met hem een gesprek al voeren. Hij is reeds in de krijg. And maybe we can have that interview now. The interview with Bob Hitz that we did earlier this evening.
Yes, I think it's coming up, Heinrich. There's an interview we did with Bob Hitz in the dressing room.
Feel very relaxed and very strong and very confident for this upcoming contest this evening.
Any predictions?
A victory for Bobby Hitz. This is a big opportunity for me, and I appreciate everybody that's involved bringing me down here to the beautiful country of Puerto Rico and here to get it on.
I believe you were going to want to join the tour in South Africa.
Yeah, there was some talk of that, and even if that fight never comes off, I would definitely love to visit your country sometime. It's very beautiful, and I would look very forward to coming down there and visiting your country.
Dat is de indruk van Bob Hitz. En dan het ook met de Zuid-Afrikaanse zwaargewichtskampioen Pierre Coetzer gezeld. U ziet nou van Pinkland Thomas aan de linkerkant van de scherm.
In the blue corner, weighing 221 pounds,
Pierre Coetzer, the South African champion earlier this evening.
20 wins, 2 losses, no draws, 20 knockouts from South Africa, Pierre Coetzer.
Ja, baie lekker te nou inderdaad. Ik weet niet hoe, het is wel een probleem geweest, denk ik. Maar begin hier is het week zo en het is al klaar gewend en het is wel een beetje een probleem geweest dat we waren.
Dus als ik nu die fout maak om voorbij Bobby Hitz te kijken naar die volgende gevecht dan Jani.
Ja, nu bij beslist dat die belangrijkste gevecht door die staan is Bobby Hitz. En ik ben blij met u kijken voor ik mijn volgende gevecht heb.
Hoe kan je die gevecht benaderen?
Wel, ik laat me af dat er al een teweler en ik lijkt het mij niet wat ik te maken.
En trouwens je naar die overwinning.
Baie dankie.
Nou ja, de laatste twee boxers die ik krijg, dat is Bob Hitz en Pierre Coetzer. En die eerste keer dat onze eerste negatieve gevolgen krijgt, willen voor Pierre Coetzer voorstel. Onder die schade, tot dusver net baie welwillendheid ervaar hier in Puerto Rico. Meneer Solo, en inmiddels krijgt aanvang rond de nummer 1. Iets maar dadelijk door die kopvalaanval van Pierre Coetzer. En George Foreman verloor. Kort linkerhand uit die Pierre Coetzer. Dit is een over. seer moet maak, dan sal Bobby baie stadiger beweeg. Coetzer is baie goed gebalanceerd. Hy is nie gespanne nie. Gewoonlik begin Coetzer stadig, maar is 'n baie goeie linker in die gesig. En 'n regter is hier nog. Kort regter afval van Bobby, Coetzer net oor die skouer geklemd, maar aan die gesig. Zeker kry nog maar uit linker. En dan praat hy met Coetzer aan die oorkant. En het verzoek vir die binnen getak. Hier Coetzer baie meer klipvoetig as Bobby. De rechterstopper is niet mooi getreft, maar dat is serieus voorarm gaat. Hij staat bij met die kop. Coetzer kijkt wel net, hij zei nee, hij kan varen over skudding niet. Hierdie gevecht voor Coetzer is baie belangrijk, want hij kan tegen Francesco Damiani, die wereldboksorganisatie van zwaargewichtskampioen vecht in december maand. Hij heeft ons zeer gemaakt bij kortrechter. Bobby, die wil nog streken uithalen. Daar de rechter achter was tegen Bobby getreft, het was Bobby uit die krijg. Daar is die opstopper, 2 linker opstoppers, wat baie goed gewerkt heeft. Ja, oké. Dat is 2 mooie linker opstoppers wat hier gekomen in het gezicht. En hij wint met de baie goeie overwinning.
Well, that's the first round knockout for Pierre Coetzer. He decided not to take any chances against Hitz. He was going to get him out there as quickly as possible, and you saw what he did. He wasn't about to carry a man with a world title fight on the line on November the 25th. And don't forget, we've got Roberto Brancini here at ringside. Here's a replay of what happened. Coetzer trapped Hitz in the corner and blasted him with those punches to the body to get him to drop his guard. Right hand really hurt him to the side of the head, and then Hitz went down, and that left hook was just a payoff punch. No way was Hitz going to get up. Well, that's a good first round knockout for Pierre Coetzer. It's a nice lead in for the fight with Francisco Damiani, the WBO world title fight, which is coming up on November the 25th.
Daar Vincent Thomas bij Allen te willen niet krijgt om zijn goede wensen voor te dragen.
Enrico, are you going to interview? Yeah. I think we're going to get an interview with Pierre in the ring before he leaves. If Heinrich will go into the ring and see if he can get a few words from the South African heavyweight champion. And what was a very competent performance by Pierre Coetzer. Put his punches together very nicely indeed, and when he had Hitz hurt, he didn't waste any time to put him on the canvas. Here's another replay. Right hand to the head. That really shook Hitz as he tried to get away from the champion. James back into that corner, and then blasted into the body to bring the punches, the guard down to the American. Drove him back with that left hook, and look at that solid right to the head. Hitz was in trouble, and don't forget, Hitz came into this fight very confident that he couldn't take those punches, and nothing coming back from the American, you notice, as Coetzer drove in those shots with all the shoulder behind them. Look at the power behind those shots. Coetzer putting everything he's got behind those blows, and perhaps surprising that Hitz managed to stand up to that barrage for as long as he did. And now it's the official announcement.
9 seconds into the first round. The winner by a knockout from South Africa, Pierre Coetzer.
Oh, they call him Coetzer, but They're probably thinking of Harry could be. And now up to Heinrich Minus for the interview.
En jij hebt twee opstoppers die om eerst weer zag gemaakt, toen je de gang naar die lijst toe en toen naar die kop toe.
Ja, wel, dat is op die kaarten van hier eventjes. Dat ik gezien heb hier. Van die keer en we krijgen naar die lijst toe geslaan en dat werd gemaakt.
Jij speelt bij voor de eerste ronde.
Ja, wel is bij warm niet, maar in een spits is stukje bij je.
Maar dat heeft hij ook gezegd al geslacht.
Nee, hij heeft net gezien, hij heeft mij bij met die kop gestampt en de scheidsrechter erbij gepraat.
Alan, are you happy with the performance?
Oh yes, very. I told him not to take any chances. He was, the head looked a bit dangerous. I said, I told him, you can't play with this guy. You don't know much about him, so you better get some good body shots, and that's what did the trick.
What about the next one, the big one?
Oh, he'll be very prepared for the big one, that I can assure you.
Is that on November 25?
Yes, November 25, and we're looking forward to it. This is exactly what we wanted. We're glad we came here. We know the conditions now.
Hier die omstandigheden waaronder jij geoefend hebt in Juan, het alles weer goed verloopt?
Baie goed gelukt. Baie lekker geoefen. En baie lekker de eerste keer dat je komt. Met je maal beetje gewend eraan.
Baie geluk ook.
Dank je.
Well,
See the great bathroom bargain variety at Sanitary City. All the stars are in the...
111, Mitchell. I'm very disappointed with Simon, never fought. The only rounds that he won was the last round. He got his wake-up call too late, and he threw 2 rounds. The rest of the fight, he didn't fight at all.
he didn't seem to be able to unload his punches. There was no he wasn't able to flow the punches. Perhaps he was overtrained. Do you think it might have been a case?
I think that's what happened. I think he was overtrained because he did nothing. As far as I was concerned, as I say, he shared 2 rounds and won 1 and lost the rest.
And the cut that he suffered on the side of the right eye, that was never a factor because Alan will control that.
Good job. He controlled it. There was a cut in the 6th round, I think it was. But that cut didn't affect him at all. He just didn't fight at all. I was very disappointed in him.
Well, it is a great disappointment when you consider that this is his 2nd chance to win a world title.
And the last, I can assure you.
Surely,
I mean, a poor man like Mitchell, he was motivated, he was dedicated, he came in there, he threw punches. Our man didn't throw punches. You can't win a fight not throwing punches. I mean, the way the fight was dictated, the first 6, 7 rounds, probably shared 1. You can't win a championship doing that.
Yeah, well, in fact, I look back on my card, I see he did share a couple, and I gave him 1.
I made him share the 2nd, the 7th, and he won the last.
Yes.
And the rest he lost. I mean, let's tell it like it is.
Yes, yeah.
Disappointment for South Africa, but what can you do? It appears that he left his form in the gymnasium. He worked like a demon. He ran up and down. I went to the gym. I watched him work out. But I detected a couple of things in the gym. He never threw punches to the body, and it was evidenced again tonight. I was disappointed. You know, I thought if he could just reproduce a third of the form he did against Peñanga, he could have won this title. But it appears to me that the fighters that fight outside the country at the moment, I don't know what's wrong. They sort of don't have that type of motivation. They haven't got the fans behind them. If this fight was somewhere in Johannesburg and he had the fans with him, you'd see a different man. So what I'm going to try and do, I'm going to endeavor to get fights back, WBL fights in our country. You'll see a different setup because I believe they have the fans behind them. It's foreign to Simon. I mean, you must realize he comes from an environment where he's not used to it. A lot of fans were very...
But at the same time, Stan, I think in fairness to the Puerto Rican boxing fans, they were very fair. They didn't take sides in this fight at all.
It's not that. He just didn't fight himself. I mean, when you've had Peñanga with him, he got off the deck. I mean, he put the man down. He just didn't have it tonight. He just didn't fight as far as I was concerned.
My feeling was that he left his fight in the gym. Maybe because of the very warm weather we've got here, and perhaps he didn't use the right training tactics. I don't know about that.
Well, I'd put it to you this way. He looked when I watched him in the gym, he was in good shape. He probably could have overtrained because I made him do a lot of road work. And, that could be the only reason one can advance for his poor showing tonight.
Yeah. Well, at no time did he get his rhythm or his range.
No, he had no rhythm. I was actually wondering when he was going to get his wake-up call because he just went through the motions and Kenny came to him all the time. Champion took the fight to him. He kept on coming. And when he unleashed in the last round, it appeared to me that if he started like that, or in the middle rounds, he could have done something.
Surely.
You can't fight for the championship of the world and fight in a passive way like he did this evening.
Well, you might recall in the 11th round when he also began to put punches together. At the end of the 11th, Bill Benton scolded Mitchell and actually slapped him in the corner.
I noticed that.
You saw the reaction from the Americans. Up until then, it was a piece of cake.
It was a cakewalk. Well, it's unfortunate, but it's a temporary setback for our boxing. I thought he was the one that could pull it off.
On the other hand, though, Pierre Coetzer, I thought, put in a tremendous performance.
I think what Pierre did tonight, I think the fans in South Africa can really look forward to a great fight with Damiani. I saw Umberto Branchini sitting over there, and he wasn't looking too happy.
I think
come November 25, Pierre can do it. I think if he wins the heavyweight championship, he'll vindicate and help our boxing. And imagine if he wins that heavyweight championship, the kind of muscle we can flex in our country. But I'm proud that the fans have given us the opportunity here. And Pierre's quite a nice favorite. I heard one guy walk up there and he was quite complimentary about Pierre. They didn't show much. They even had the former heavyweight champion of the world, Pinklin Thomas, and he could do nothing. I think they all came to watch Pierre this evening to make sure that if he should win, and I think he's going to win, Pinklin could be a good contender as well. But I'd like to see that defense in our country.
Well, I agree with you. In fact, I spoke with Umberto Branchini earlier before the fight, and he said he was here to size up Pierre Coetzer. He also told me that Damiani has grown fat. That's a laugh. I mean, he's fat anyway. But he said the summer months he just loafed around. But he's beginning training, and I should imagine that when he gets back to Italy, Branchini is going to make Damiani train very hard after what he saw
yesterday. He's
going to
make him train overtime, and he's going to make him reduce on the pastas because he's got such an appetite. You think, I can eat. You must see this man eat.
Well, we've had one win, one loss, and we're going to have a look at the fight between Petrus Mishlanga and the young man who came in, Victor Martinez, and perhaps we'll get a win there.
Yes, I think we would.
Meneer Christodoulou, as uitvoerende directeur van die Suid-Afrikaanse Boksbeheerraad wil ek graag vir u ook net die vraag stel. Dit lyk vir my dat ons heil eintlik nou lê by die Wêreld Boksorganisasie, dat hulle baie goed georganiseer is, dat hulle ons baie goed gesind is.
Hulle is, Heinrich, ek moet sê, hulle is maar net 9 maand in bestaan, soos jy weet, en is al klaar 38 lande wat lidmaatskap het hulle gevra het en is daar. Hulle het al 30 titelgevegte met hierdie twee vanaand al gehad in 9 maande. En ek is baie tevrede dat hulle baie goed gesind is teenoor Suid-Afrika. Die president, meneer Dr. Ramompina Azevedo, is hier vanaand. En ek gaan baie hard werk om weer titelgevegte in ons land te kry.
Met die konvensie wat hier aan die einde van November gaan plaasvind, wat is die vooruitsigte?
Wel, die vooruitsigte is as volg. Kyk, die konvensie begin op die 1ste, 2de, 3de en 4de van Desember maand. En meeste van die afgevaardigdes is goed gesind teenoor ons. En ek werk al klaar en ek is seker die tyd sal aanbreek wanneer hulle ons die kans gaan gee.
Nou, jy het 'n hele paar gevegte gehad as skeieregter vir die WBV, die Wêreldboksvereniging. Maar dit het waarskynlik opgedroog en nou het hy ook oorgeskuif na die WBO toe.
Dis korrek. Ja, ek het al 3 titelgevegte hierdie jaar gehad. Een hierso met hierdie Chuita Ruiz, hy het die titel gewen, ek was die skeieregter, en 2 in Italië. Ek is tevrede dat die WBO my meer kansse sal gee en ander Suid-Afrikaanse beamptes ook. Die WBA en die WBC kan dit nie eintlik aanvaar nie, want dit blyk vir my of hulle probleme vir hulle wil skep in ander lande, maar ek is seker die WBO is sterk genoeg om daai tipe weerstand te...
Maar met die goeie organisasie van die WBO, dink ek gaan hulle baie sterk groei. En hulle is goeie kampioene.
Hulle het vanaand is Emmanuel Stewart hierso, die bestuurder van Tommy Hearns. Hy het Michael Moore, hy het nou met my gesels. Hy wil op die 10de November Michael Moore hiernatoe bring om sy titel te verdedig. So dit lyk vir my, ek meen, die WBO is daar wat al die lande nou meer kansse sal gee.
En wat nou van Pierre Coetzer se geveg teen Damiani? Dit sal waarskynlik hier plaasvind.
In hierdie selfde plek. In hierdie plek hierso. En ek is tevrede dat Pierre die kampioenskap kan wen. Ek meen, soos hy self weer het gebeurt gesê het, dis die blou wimpel van boks.
Ja.
En as hy dit wen, dan beteken dan gaan die jaar op 'n goeie note af.
Jy weet wat my besonder beïndruk het, is die baie goeie dissipline van die boksvereniging hier plaaslik.
Ja, ek moet sê, ek stem 100%. Een van die bestes ter wêreld. Ek meen na Suid-Afrika, want ek dink ons het ook een van die beste boks kommissies.
Ja.
En ek het meeste, maar hulle is, soos jy self gesien het, ek weet hulle mediese veiligheidskode is baie streng, soos jy weet. Elke bokser moet 'n immunologiese ondersoek ondergaan. Hulle 2 ambulanses hier vanaand, hulle sekuriteit is 150 sekuriteit
polisie. Daar word dit nou toetse gedoen nou na afloop
van die geveg. Na die geveg ook.
Ja.
I believe they even got the officials. I believe they even got the officials to have medical examinations for this fight. So that shows you what sort of control the Puerto Rican Boxing Commission has here.
Thanks very much.
Well, the two young men you've seen come into the ring now are both the one's the United States, the other Puerto Rican, Mario Cordero and Ramira Adames. Adames from the United States.
Wel, Adames is die man wat vandaag die problemen gehad heeft met zijn gewicht. En bij hem ken ik met jouw africhten, Paul Benton. En was bij hem aangekomen te spreken. Ja, Paul Benton en die mensen hier zo.
También de campeonatos mundiales. Le estamos invitando desde ahora. Recuerden, el día 21 de octubre, aquí en este extraordinario Coliseo, en el Roberto Clemente.
We just got back for a moment to that official scoring. It was a unanimous decision for Mitchell. I think the way the announcer read the scores out might have given the impression that one of the judges had Skasana
Yeah, but
winning.
he said 110 instead of 120.
Yes, he kept making that mistake.
Yeah.
The margins were quite emphatically in favour of Kenny Mitchell, the defending champion. We've heard from Moshi Simonsop, one of the co-promoters of MNR, that Skasana claims he hurt his right hand early in the fight, but I really don't believe that was a factor, Heinrich.
Nee, Bert, ons heeft gezegd dat Skasana waarschijnlijk met zo'n 8 punten wordt verloren. Als je kijkt naar die telkaarten van die scheidsrechters, die een scheidsrechter 120, 110, dus 10 punten waarmee hij verloren heeft. Die andere scheidsrechter 120, 114 heeft met 6 punten verloren. En die derde beoordelaar 119 tegen 113. Dat is ook met 6 punten. Dat is eigenlijk een baie teleurstellende persoon in weer Simon Skasana. Simon Skasana was net nie agressief voorgekom het nie. En het was asof hy maar gewag het vir 'n hou wat waarmee hy dalk kan tref. En dat hy altyd oorversigtig was in die geveg.
Roja, con un peso de 127 libras, de Texas, Estados Unidos de América, Ramiro Adames.
Maar het is wel een probleem in Amerika, is een baie ernstige crisis.
Y en la esquina azul,
heel dag op televisie, op die voorblaaien
con
van die
un peso
koranten.
de
En vooral in Puerto Rico,
125
wat
libras,
volgens zekere mensen deurgangspoort is naar Amerika toe wordt. Waar die strengste veiligheidsmaatregels toegepast. En die boxers wat aan die wereld zien,
son jueces para esta pelea,
daar wordt nou op die honderd van
señores
toetsen met hulle onderneem om vast te stellen of daar enige betekenis in hulle lichaam.
el árbitro Waldemar Smith. 10
De tweede keer dat meneer Waldemar Smit vanavond hier gaan optreden. It's his second appearance tonight.
Yes, they certainly give him a lot of work, and it's pretty warm here inside the stadium, so...
Well, tonight's not too bad, you know, Bert. I mean, when we arrived here.
Oh, yeah.
It was Durban at its worst.
Indeed, and I come from Durban, so I should know. Well, here we have an opportunity to see at least one Puerto Rican fighter in action. The other one's an American, although quite clearly of Puerto Rican extraction. From what we've seen from the earlier fights, these Puerto Rican boxers really turn it on. They have the fans standing up in their seats shouting encouragement.
Cordero in die geelbroekie.
This is a featherweight fight scheduled for 10 rounds. Although there was a problem at the weigh-in, so quite frankly, I'm not too sure what they're fighting at. It may even be a catchweight fight.
Well, Adames was helemaal overgewicht geweest.
Yes, he was, and I don't think he could have come in at the agreed poundage at all.
Well, on account of that, we had to wait very long today before we could come out to the Coliseo.
The management of Cordero insisted that Adames go for a 15-mile run. He wanted the fight. They said he had to try and get some of that weight off. What's more, the trainer of Cordero went along to watch him run. That's one of the conditions they made in which they would actually take the fight.
But I'm very impressed with the strict way they handle boxing in Puerto Rico.
Well, so am I, Heinrich. Very impressed indeed. And as Stan himself said, we always think that our boxing border control is very good and very strict. Well, I've not seen better than what we've seen here in Puerto Rico these last few days.
But even the officials get screened.
Incredibly, yes. They actually medically check the officials before they grant them a license for each tournament. And that goes for the seconds and the trainers and everybody else. Everybody involved is medically checked. They've got a very strong medical code in Puerto Rico.
Maybe it's because we have so many ladies involved in boxing here. I think we should introduce the same thing down south.
Very pleased to see that, Heinrich. It adds a new dimension to boxing. In fact, the person who holds the equivalent position of Stan Christodoulou here in Puerto Rico is a lady, Zomi Delgado.
Delgado is die uitvoerende sekretaris, bijna sekretaresse van die Puerto Ricaanse boksorganisatie. En dan is Juan die enige vrouwe bokskommentator. En dan Jackie Kellen, waar die bestuurder was van, natuurlijk nog die bestuurder van Bobby Hitz.
We certainly didn't see any fireworks in that first round, Heinrich. Perhaps that 15-mile run of Adames has taken a lot out of him.
Wel, hij was bij die 2 naar 3 pond buiten die gewichtsgrens geweest. En Benton, die africhter, was niet baie gelukkig geweest vandaag niet. En die ironie van die zaak is dat juist hij wat zo aangedringen daarop in dienst kon staan houden. Buiten die gewichtsgrens geweest dat die gevecht niet moet plaatsvinden nie.
Yes, Benton had a very aggressive attitude at the rules meeting, and at the meetings before that, he always objecting, protesting.
Wel, hij het zaak gehad met die een bezwaar dat hij aangetekend heeft. Dat is dat als die gevecht plaatsvindt en nie 'n titelgevecht is nie, moet het oor 10 rondes wees en nie oor 12 rondes nie. En die reëls maak nie daarvoor voorsiening nie.
He had a good point, I'll grant you that. It certainly gave the Mitchell camp a psychological edge, there's no question about that. South Africans were a little bit too laid back.
But I was very impressed tonight with Pierre Coetzer's performance, although it was very short.
Well, it doesn't have to be a long fight to be impressive. I agree. What we saw from Coetzer here this evening augurs well for his WBO heavyweight title challenge on November 25th. And I dare say that Umberto Brancini, who was sitting ringside, will take the news back to his champion that he better start training real hard for that fight.
Isn't he a little bit of overweight at the moment?
He certainly is. Even Brancini, who's got a good sense of humor, tells me that he's fat, that he's been loafing around all summer, because he hasn't boxed since he knocked out Johnny DePloy early in May.
But you know what impressed me most tonight about Pierre Coetzer was when he was rushed by Bob Hitz. He could handle it. And in the past, you know, one of the points of criticism I had was that when a boxer was lying on top of him or putting pressure on him, he couldn't handle that.
Well, that's true, Heinrich, and I was also very pleased to see that Coetzer was aggressive. You know, he picked his shots well. He didn't go wild, but he kept coming forward, stalking his man. Quite often in South Africa, we've seen Pierre sort of lay back, wait for his opponent to lead first and then counter. Well, he didn't do that tonight. He took control of that fight right from round 1, from the opening bell. And when he hurt Bobby Hitz, he wasted no time. Put combinations together and put the American away. And talking about combinations, Cadera's beginning to put a few together right now. Well, Puerto Ricans, I notice, are very knowledgeable boxing fans. They know when to respond. They give great encouragement to their fighters. And as a result, I think the fighters turn in above average performances.
Ja, wat boks betreft hier in die Caribische eilanden gebied, ook daar in Panama, tenminste sterk onder de indruk gekomen dat baie van hulle van die straat af moet kom veg ten einde hulle brood te verdien. En daar is hoegenaamd geen genade wat betoon word nie. Dit is hoë tempo werkverrigting deur boksers. Hulle val bitter min vas. En dit is aksie al die tyd. En dit is wat die mense wil hê. En ek dink dit is ook 'n refleksie van die polsende ritme van hierdie eiland met jou salsa musiek wat heeldag hier gespeel word. Die vrolikheid, dit is maar net aan die mense se geaardheid.
I agree, Heinrich. They've got a very easy lifestyle here. At least that's what the way it looks to me. But this is an outlet. Boxing's an outlet for whatever frustrations they may have. They really enjoy the sport.
Also, you have a lot of hungry boxers in this region.
Yes, well, at the weigh-in today, there were many boxers standing around hoping they would get on this bill. If somebody fell by the wayside, they were there to take their place.
But I mean, if you take that fight, Vargas against Pepisos, I think that was typical of boxing here.
I would say so. Unfortunately, our viewers back home didn't see that one, but that was a great fight. In fact, Vargas reminded me very strongly of Charlie Ware. His aggressive style and lots of aggro.
Well, Charlie Ware hit his opponent only once when he was on the ground, not 3-4 times.
Well, maybe Vargas had been watching Charlie Ware movies. Well, we've seen very little from the Damas here this evening. I think it's because he was well overweight at the weigh-in, forced to take a very long run to try and get some of that weight off before they would accept this fight, and this had an effect on him. And that once again brings me back to Skasana fight. I have a suspicion Skasana may well have been overtrained. He was going for very long runs, I understand, right up until the day before the fight. I don't know how wise that was in the humid conditions here in Puerto Rico.
But Bertie came in at exactly 122.
Yes.
So he had to lose weight.
Yeah, that's also true. He was right on the
He
limit.
must have lost weight with all that training there.
Really, particularly in the humid conditions which prevail here in San Juan.
But he was sluggish. He wasn't snappy. I was really disappointed.
And yet mentally he seemed attuned for the fight. He was very confident when we spoke to him beforehand.
They all say that.
Yes. Oh, look at Coetzer put combinations together here. That's a good solid jab from Coetzer. Not just pushing out the punch, he's putting his shoulder behind it.
Come on, stop. Now. Regina, watch your head.
Well, Coetzer went over the top with that right hand. And you heard how the crowd responded to the punch.
Je ziet wat ik bedoel, als ik klok leid dan slaan we nog. En dit is patroon wat hier doorgaans zelf lijkt het voor mij. San Juan is natuurlijk een bijzondere eiland. Hier in die Caribische Zee aan de noordkant. Dit was die Atlantische Oceaan. Dit is zo 106, meer 1600 kilometer ten zuiden van Miami. Het ligt zo aan die oostkant van Panama. En dan die Caribische Zee aan die zuidenkant. Wat die politieke status van die eiland betreft, is het eigenlijk een statenbond van die Verenigde Staten van Amerika. Hulle het 'n gouverneur wat hier in beheer is, meneer Rafael Hernandez. Colon. Dat is die gouverneur van Puerto Rico. Hulle staan onder twee vlaggen, die Puerto Ricaanse vlag en ook die Amerikaanse vlag. Een van die historische bastions van die eiland is die burgvesting El Morro. Baie sterk Spaanse invloed, maar nog steeds hier geldt Spaans die nummer 1 taal en die tweede taal is Engels.
Come on, step back. Come on, break clean now. Step back. No, right on. Step back now. Come on, step back. That's a break now. Step back now. Get by it. Step back. Okay, pal. Let's go. Step back. That's it. That's a break now. Step back. Break in. Hold it. That's a break. Come here. No, break. No. Watch your head now. Step back. That's a break, fellow. Keep back inside now. That's it. Come on, step back. That's it. Vámonos, Magaro. Vámonos.
Well, Cadera has kept Adames on the end of that jab throughout this fight, controlling the action from ring center. When he does get on the inside, you notice he either clinches, holds, or tries to get out again. Obviously, he's a distance fighter, and he's sticking to his three-fight strategy.
it, big fellow. Just step back now. Go to him. That's it.
Oh, that was a good one. Look at that. Left hook, right cross. Now the question is, can Adamus beat the count? He looks okay, falling backward, off balance. That doesn't look good. He's out. What a beautiful combination that was. Maybe we can have a look at it in the replay.
Wel, Bert, hy slaan hom met die linker hakke en hy oorval na sy eie linkerkant toe, tref hom met die regter hakke in die proses van neerval. Maar dit wys net vir mens, daar word geen genade betoon hier nie. Kyk nou net, hy tref hom met die linker hakke. Daar is hy, hier nog nie. En as hy oorval, dan loop hy in die regter hakke vas.
The right hand wasn't necessary. In fact, it didn't really land. It just glanced off the side of his face. Well, it confirms what most of us in boxing are saying, that the left hook is the most effective punch in boxing today. Well, there's a happy young man. He has another look at that knockout. What a spectacular knockout it was. Kadira sizing up Adamus. Adamus throws the right, misses. Kadira goes over the top of that left hook. And look at the affected hand on Adamus. He was out before he hit the canvas. And referee Valdemar Schmidt went through the motion of counting out. He tried to rise and fell backwards. How's Kadira being interviewed by Puerto Rican radio? He's a very excited young man, and this fight almost didn't take place because of the problems they had at the weigh-in today. Adamus was grossly overweight. There was a lot of strong words spoken between the two camps before Kadira's management insisted that Adamus go for a 15-mile run to try and get some of the weight off. Well, coming up next is the fight between Petros Michlongo and Victor Martinez. That's supported the middleweight division. And Petros Michlongo is a stablemate of Simon Skasana. Martinez, a local fighter with a record of 6-1-1. He's actually a substitute for the man that Michlongo was going to fight, that was Jose Pancho Rodriguez. M&R promoters found when they arrived on the island that Rodriguez was a fearful puncher and perhaps too good for Michlongo, so they insisted they change the opponent.
Oh, but while we're waiting for the fight to be shown to us, maybe we can just
del quinto asalto, el vencedor por nocaut de Puerto Rico, Mario Cordero.
I love this ring announcer.
Señoras y señores, extendemos una muy cordial invitación para el próximo 21 de octubre aquí, en este Coliseo, para otro programa extraordinario. Hasta entonces, Manolo Sánchez les dice...
Well, coming up now is the fight between Petros Michlongo and Victor Martinez.
Hy is deur Stanley Mathieu uitgeslaan en toe die boksbeheerraad natuurlik besluit dat hy 'n tydperk van 6 maande weens mediese redes nie mag boks nie. Van mediese redes gepraat en die boksbeheerraad gepraat. Ons is besonder beïndruk met die boksbeheerraad se dissipline wat gehandhaaf word hier in Puerto Rico. Hulle is uiters streng. Ons het nog nie die naam gekry van die skeieregter van die geveg nie, Bert. Do you know who the referee is?
No, I don't, but I'm sure they'll announce him. Schlangu, of course, was one time considered a very promising prospect until he suffered that knockout at the hands of Stanley Matty. And he's still got a good record, 13-3. It's not a bad record at all. His opponent, I see, is Victor Martinez, record of 6-1-1. And originally, Schlangu was supposed to fight a fellow called Jose Pancho Rodriguez, but the South African contingent got the news when they arrived here that Rodriguez was a lot better than they were led to believe and decided that they'd better have a substitute. And Gregorio Benitez, who is very well known in South Africa because he brought Ozzy Ocasio to South Africa on 2 occasions, he actually found Victor Martinez as a substitute for this fight. Schlangu very relaxed. We visited with him in the dressing room, and South African camp very confident.
Señoras, señores, muy buenas noches y bienvenidos a este extraordinario programa de boxeo que presenta para ustedes Video Deporte. En su nombre y en el mío propio, gracias por vuestra asistencia. Este programa está siendo supervisado por la Comisión de Boxeo de Puerto Rico en la persona de su comisionado de turno, José Toto Peñagarícano. Son médicos para el programa los doctores Raúl Casas, Roberto Coetzer y Amaury Capella. Tenemos también la presencia del presidente de la Comisión de Boxeo, señor Leonardo González. Y queremos darle un aplauso a una joven que ha hecho su ingreso como secretaria ejecutiva de la Comisión de Boxeo de Puerto Rico, la señora Domis Delgado. Y ya vamos a la primera pelea de la noche, pactada a 6 asaltos. Y en la esquina azul, con un peso de 123 libras, y de Sudáfrica, Petrus Malangus. Y en la esquina roja de Puerto Rico, con un peso de 124 libras, Víctor Martínez. La honorable comisión ha designado como jueces para esta pelea a los señores Carlos Colón y Waldemar Smith. El árbitro Marianito Soto. 6 asaltos. Que los disfruten.
Om die leviete voor te lezen aan die 2 boksers. Schlangu aan die rechterkant van die scherm en dan Martinez aan die linkerkant van die scherm. Africhter van Simons Kosana, die is ook daar bij Petrus Schlangu. Een gevecht dan onder die reëls van die Wêreldboksorganisasie, reëls wat weinig indien enige verskil van die Wêreldboksvereniging. Dis die aanvang van ronde nommer 1. Netjiese ontwyking deur Schlangu. Martinez se reflekse baie goed. Lyk of die geveg teen 'n hoë pas wil afsit. Martinez sal natuurlik binne-in moet kom, want Mashlangu 'n bietjie langer is hy. Arms 'n bietjie langer, sy lengte ook. En Martinez sal binne-in moet kom. Mashlangu sal hom op 'n afstand moet hou. Daar die kort regterhaakhou en 'n baie goeie kombinasie, regterhaakhou en 'n linkerhaakhou. Deur Mashlangu. Mashlangu die lyf 'n paar keer al aangeval. Dit is onmiddellik. Onmiddellik het Martinez verkereer naar die rechter van Mashlangu. Mashlangu te rust waar die skoonrouwe geplant. Eigenlijk het hy baie goed getref vir die eerste ronde. En hierdie keer met die linker. So daar was nou 2 goeie lyfhoue. Daar was 'n regter, 'n linker. Martinez laat hom nie intimideer nie. Maar hy loop vir hom vas en daar die kort linkerhaakhou van Mashlangu. Baie goeie begin vir Mashlangu. Dat het nie te sien nie, maar daar was 'n kort regter in die binnengeveg waarmee Mashlangu getref het. Dit lyk of Martinez fiks is. Martinez se lyfhou is teen die voorarms van Mashlangu en dit kom nie deur nie. En weer tref hy met daar die pragtige regter in die linkerhak. En die regter in die gesig van Martinez en dadelik val hy vas. Hou wat vir hom seer gemaak het. Oh, en dan slaan hy hom as die klok gelei het by die linkerhaakhou. But a very good first round.
Indeed it was. Mashlangu boxing from behind the jab for most of that round, and then we began to open up and caught Martinez with a couple of good left hooks to the head.
But he went to the body as well.
Yes, mixing up his punch as well, and good to see that he stayed on the outside and didn't do too much on the inside, because I think Martinez would like to keep this fight at close quarters. And as is customary with has a replay from that first round, good right hand to the head. That was a good shot, and then he followed with that left hook to the body. A good combination from Mashlangu. Loosened up very nicely here in round 1. Settling down into a fight that could mean so much to him.
It all depends whether Mashlangu is fit, because I think that Martinez is a tough little guy. He took the punch as well, but he got hurt.
Certainly did. But here we are in round 2. After that good opening round for Mashlangu. Still boxing on the outside, you'll notice. Good strategy, I think, against a man who would like to get on the inside. Martinez needs to get on the inside to score. And then he barrages as he's doing here. But a lot of those shots have been taken on the arms and the gloves. And look at Mashlangu come back with those solid shots to the head. Martinez in a little trouble. And there's a cut already on Martinez's right eye. He's in trouble now. Mashlangu cutting loose with everything. Martinez trying to get on the inside of hold.
You go there. Time. Time.
The referee's called time. The reason for that, of course, is he wants the doctor to have a look at that cut.
Hey, you stay there.
Opened on Martinez's right eye. You see the blood trickling down the side of the arm.
Nou, Martinez het hom dadelijk gestorm. En Mashlangu het hom nie laat intimideer daardeur nie. Hy het eintlik teruggeveg. En die geveg word beëindig. 'n Tegniese uitklophou in die tweede ronde. Baie goeie oorwinning van Petrus Mashlangu. Nadat Martinez vir hom gestorm het. En hy het hom met houe van hom afgeweer. Om getref met daardie pragtige hakhoue. En die regter oogbank die word dan opgekloof van Martinez. En Petrus Mashlangu wen met 'n tegniese uitklophou in die tweede ronde. Kom ons kyk na daar.
Well, you notice that Martinez was trying to get on the inside. He needed to because he was a shorter man and had a shorter reach. But Mishlangu kept him on the end of his punches, and one of those blows opened that cut on the right eye, and that virtually sealed the fate of the Puerto Rican.
Well, I thought that Mishlangu did very well by not being dominated.
Indeed, he fought the right kind of fight, Heinrich. He kept the man on the end of his punches, stayed on the outside. And when he shook Martinez with those shots to the head in the second round, he moved in quickly and he really unloaded all the punches at his command. Well, that's a particularly good win for Petrus Mishlangu. His first fight outside of South Africa, and I'm sure the South Africans will be very happy with that performance. And we have another look at what happened in the second round, and you see Mishlangu working on the inside, going to the body, and Martinez trying his best to smother those punches, but not doing a very good job of it. And there's that right hand to the head, and
a los 42 segundos del segundo asalto, el vencedor por nocaut técnico, Petrus Mishlangu.
Well, they might say.
Dit aan die einde van hierdie toernooi in San Juan in Puerto Rico vanaand, waar ons gekyk het na die twee wereldtitelgevechte. Simon Kusana wat eintlik dan teleurgestel het vanaand deur die gevegte verloor teen Kenny Mitchell. Hy het volgens die drie beoordelaars langs die kant van die kruit met 10 punte en met 6 punte en 6 punte onderskeidelik die geveg verloor. En dit is Simon Kusana wat eintlik baie onactief voorgekom het en eintlik 'n bietjie laks voorgekom het vanaand en nie 'n skerp vertoning gelewer het nie. Pierre Coetzer, uitstekende vertoning. 'n Man wat hom dadelik gestorm het en hy het hom van sy lyf geweer en Pierre Coetzer het vir hom dadelik uitgeslaan sommer in die eerste ronde. En dan die eerste geveg van die aand wat u ook dan gesien het was die junior kapokgewigtitel van die wêreld waar die twee plaaslike manne teen mekaar te staan gekom het, José Chito Ruiz, en hy was dan nie die gunsteling nie, hoewel hy die kampioen was, en hy het te staan gekom teen Coetzer Coetzer. Maar pragtige handspoed wat die man gebruik het, dit is die kampioen wat het gebruik het Ruiz, en hy behou dan sy wêreldtitel met groot welslaag. Die ander geveg waarna hy pas gekyk het was dan Petrus Mishlangu wat 'n goeie oorwinning met 'n tegniese uitlophou in die tweede ronde behaal het. Nou, ons het verneem dat die televisieorganisasie hier die geveg van José Chito Ruiz nou nog verder gaan uitsaai. Ek dink dit is nou vir Miami bedoel. En daardie geveg gaan weer 'n keer nou vertoon word vir die plaaslike televisiestasies en ook oor see. Maar wat ons betref, ons vertrou u het hierdie oefening van topsporter D geniet. Ons sien baie uit na November maand as dit 'n werklikheid word waar Pierre Coetzer dan die geleentheid gaan kry om die wêreldboksorganisasie se swaargewigkroon te veg teen Francesco Damiani. And Bob, what do you think about that one before you go back?
Well, I think that Pierre Coetzer's got I think he's got a better chance now than he had before he arrived here because he's acclimatized himself. He knows exactly what he's in for. He knows the conditions locally, and my goodness, he fought well this evening. And I think Umberto Brancini is going to take the news back very quickly to Damiani, and he'll be training very hard for the next few weeks.
Well, what impressed me was the fact that Pierre Coetzer went in right from the beginning.
Yes, we saw a more determined, a more aggressive Pierre Coetzer, the kind of Coetzer we've all hoped to see in the past, and it all worked for him tonight. And let's hope it works for him again on November 25th.
Hey, ons gaan weer die lang pad terugneem, so 33 uur se vlieg daarna Suid-Afrika toe. Ons groet u vir ou laas hier van San Juan in Puerto Rico en ook namens Rian Pinaar wat ons uiters goed bygestaan het hier in die stad. Alles van die beste en totsiens en terug na die ateljee.
Our commentary team there, Bert Blewett and